So this is Baruch Fleischman here. As today is the night of the 16th of Cheshvon. It is the yahrzeit of my father, Yoel ben Abraham Cohen, died young. Been gone for a long time now, and I had the pleasure of davening for the Yom today, and I want to dedicate this shir as best I can to his memory. So he says. The Zohar says we're here, page on Shin Lamed Ches in the Mapach B'Devash and Parshas Pinchas Daf Reish Lamed Hey on the base, and it says B'Chiburika Demor. So he said Veshet, the esophagus, the Bala Mechlo. We talked apparently that swallows the food. And all the kuhul shaifim, and from the, I guess, the stomach or wherever it's swallowed into, all of the shefa that comes from it goes to all the limbs of the body. Yihi Badarga the Ishim. Now, this interesting idea, he says that what you're talking about here, and he's talking about, I guess, the digestive process. I want to listen to the Mafik Mitvash. But he says Badarga the Ishim, it's a letter of fires. Fire. Ishim Inan Kravim Miyad. So the fires immediately come forward. Obeloy Venotli Kolil Bego Asha. And it takes and incorporates within it this fire, an upper fire, the call of the Ishim that has fire within it. I'm not sure what all of those fires are doing. Would like to find out from the Mafik Medabash. V'Razados. Now this secret, Ishe Havaya, the fire of Yudke Vavke, V'Nachalaso Yochelo, and those who are his inheritors, they will eat. Elan Achle Balon. These are the ones that eat, and they're the ones that swallow. The Charlo Achlin Hochi, but all the rest, they don't eat like this. Now, to me, this is needs a lot of help. He says, Hamilos Bekiburaka Debo. The work that we found in the first meeting. Shachos L'Raya Mehemna, it really refers, we're still listening to the words of Moshe Rabbeinu. Amit Atek Divrei Zohar, who is copying over here the words of the Torah. Lifnei Shuhu Mefarsho, and he got into it, or he pointed it out, he got into it before it was actually explained. Now, I'm not sure what that meant, but let's go on. Homer Rebbe Shimon, so Rebbe Shimon said like this. Kamo HaVeshet, just like the esophagus, Shabbalea as a Michael that swallows the food. The Misham Niknas Koyach HaHazana, we call it Evorim. And from there enters the Hazana is Lashon Mazon, all of the food, all the sustenance, the substance of the food, we call it Evorim to all of the limbs. Now this is something I don't know, so I'm reading along. So these fires, these are the Vidregas of angels, Anikroim Ishim, they're the fiery angels. Ho Isha Hamiskarvim Miyad Be'ez HaKravas HaKarbon. So I'm not sure what he means, but the fires that start to spring up immediately as the carbon is offered, Heim Lokim Obuloyim as called Chelik HaRuchni, they swallow up, these fires swallow up, as called Chelik HaRuchni, all the spiritual part of the food, Min HaKarbon. And this is swallowed up, according to, by the Eish Elyon, HaKolol Esa Ishim, that is, there's an upper fire that incorporates within it all the rest of the fires. That's my best I can understand of that. He said, where it says Ishe Hashem, Heim Hamalachim in the Kroim Ishe. So he says he wants to say that the word Ishe refers to Malachim, fiery angels. So then he says, Ve'elu Heim Ochlin Beloyim as a Gabano. So it is the angel. To understand angels in this sense, what does he mean by them? They are vehicles for transfer shefa from the bottom to the top. In other words, our mayim nukfin, which is very similar to a carbon, because you're offering it down here in this world. You're bringing it up to the Most High. So he says that this is the fire that we're talking about, that these are the fire of these angels who are transportation. They also bring it back down, bring Shefa back down. Elohim ochlin the beloyim is a karbanos. These are what eat these spiritual forces and swallow the karbanos. Bashar malachim on the Aquarium b'nei Elim. So the b'nei Elim is another word, means the children of angels. Shehim b'bechinas hakoneh, which really refers to the windpipe. Lo ochlim kach min karbanos. They do not eat like this from the karbanos. Now, I don't think that if I didn't have the Matik V'Debash that I would have got to that idea. He says that this is really as explained by the Ramak, by the Mikdash Melech. Others said that. So let's go on. So, 1 second. Right, so then it says, V'kol b'nei alma lobar. Now, all of the people, all humanity that are on the outside, lo yadin eich achlin. They don't know how they are absorbing this carbon. V'lav raz de lahom. And it's not, isn't it a secret that they have? Aladargin de lago, but really there are levels on the inside. Inun yodin v'notlin minaihu, and those levels inside, they what? Inun yodin, they know, they're aware of the fact that these malachim are absorbing the carbon. V'notlin minaihu, it takes from them. So he said, let's see what the Matok V'Devash says. He says, V'kol b'nei ha'olam, all mankind. The Hainu, but here he says it doesn't mean humanity in general, not the Chinese and the Bolivians, not like that. V'kol b'nei ha'olam, the Hainu ha'malachim, we're talking here about the malachim, shehem b'chutz, which are outside of this process, olamata, medadregas ha'ishim, from they're outside of this level from the ishim. Enim yodim eich ochlem ma'ishim. They don't know. There's a lot of malachim that never get into the panemius of this, and as a result of that, they don't know what's going on. Ve'enim evinim, so the chilasim, and they really don't understand the secret of the eating process. Ella, madregas malachim, but the different levels of the malachim. Shem bifnim olamalachim in the ishim, because there is remember that the word bifnim, which means inside, which is panemius, is the same concept as lamala. So he says, shehem bifnim ulamala min ishim. In other words, they're panemi to that, they came first. So they know. Hem yodim, so the chilas carbon, they understand. That is what's on the inside. Ella ha'ishim, but the ishim, which he said, the machlim, I think he means the malachim that are on the outside, notim chelak hamuvchor mechem. I guess I translated it wrong. Hem yodim, so the chilas carbon, etzel ishim, so they know what's going on with the ishim, and they know that the ishim are swallowing and absorbing the shefa that is coming from the carbon. The notim chelak hamuvchor mechem, and they take the very best portion of that. So it looks like we're working a metaphor here, because the Rebbe Shimon writes. Let me bring this down. We can see it. Sorry. So he said, "But veshet lis le bedika mibechutz." Now the nature of the esophagus is that nobody really can examine it from the outside, because what's involved with it is on the inside of it. The lo yodoi ela bebifnim yodei, the notlet. So again, we were talking about the malachim that are inside and the malachim that are outside. The ones on the outside don't know because they can't get in. So he said, the lo yadei ela b'bifnim yodoi b'notli. But those malachim that are on the inside, they know and they take. So here we're trying to understand how the karbanos work in a metaphor to our esophagus. V'amar od, and it said furthermore, kehabeshet, the esophagus, ein lo bedika mebechutz. Now, what does that mean? Because the Isi says he found this in Benechahul. In other words, you can't really check it out from the outside. So the reason is according to this so. So those malachim that are on the outside, which means the same thing as means they're below. the Madrega of the Ishim, which are absorbing and taking up the Shefa, Shechiba Bechinas Veshet, which represent the Veshet. Now let me read again. Ki Eloh HaMalachim Shehem Mechutza Lamata Mebedregas Ishim, which is below the leg of the Shehem Bechinas Veshet. The Ishim is the concept of the Veshet, they said. So for those that are not part of the inside of the Veshet, Shehem Einam Yodim as Sod Achilas Ishim, they don't know. They're looking for the outside, but there's no Bedika on the outside. Sarka Veshet Bedika, so therefore it needs that Veshet needs to be examined. The Ramaz al Eloh HaMalachim, which is a reference to these Malachim, Shehem Lifnim Lamala Me'ayishim, that are inside. So investigating means to go into it and really look what's inside. Then you're talking about a different set of Malachim, the ones that are inside and higher. Shehem Yodim, so the Chilas Ha'ishim, V'gam Notlim Chelet Mehem, and they also take a portion for that. So let's take a look at this little last piece here. We got to come up, and it goes like this. Ad all the Beit Tolchana. So we're talking about Tolchana. You pronounce it Tolchana. So this is a grinder. There's some grinder. I don't know what grinder he means. V'ishtechik is basha, and so it becomes ground up and cooked or matured. V'nato kulu kaved kama de'itbar. All of that which is ground up, in other words, the process of digestion, winds up going into the liver. Ve'ilan ishim, from these ishim, which we were particularly talking, we were previously talking and saying that they refer to the malachim that are actually swallowing the carbon. Nafki dargin b'da'akdame b'notle mikavid b'gadmisa. They go out, different levels come out, that come first, and they take from the kaved. They're the first ones that take for the kaved, for the liver. Tochanos, ochle, karbanim, v'tochanim. So they grind, ochle, karbanim, v'tochanim, and they continue to grind. Now that's my understanding of the words. We'll see what the Matak B'Devash says. Valdom is made the ishar of mikdisha, but from this, according to what we see now, from the moment that the base of Mikdash was destroyed, it said, that the grinders, this is like grinding wheat, they were nullified, because they were eliminated, they were made to be very small. Now, exactly what that means, I don't know. Ilan Tolchanim Bekadmisa, so those grinders, or that grinding that was at the beginning, Kavan is the Hanan once it was ground. Even the Shalter Alaycho Beloy Venotli. Those that are in charge of it are governed over this. Beloy, they swallow it and they take it. The Ikron Beshet, and they're called by the name Beshet. Now I can tell you right now that seems like it's really needs a lot of help. So let's see what the Matak B'Devash says. So he says, before Shadachilas Biruri HaCarbon, so the beginning of the refining process of bringing the Kedusha out of the carbon, Hika Ayin Achilas Adam is very similar to the way that we eat. Shehi Asher the Kabbalah Azana, so the food that we're eating is impossible to the Kabbalah Zana Malmichael, that is the sustenance that is inside of the food. Ad Sheniknas and Michael, the base of Tehina Shuha Keva. So taking the food from the stomach, for the keva. The nischak or misbatel sham hamaychel. Moment to look up this word. The nischak. Nischak means to be eroded, to be worn down. In other words, you change its substance. Sham hamaychel. Then after this, after the grinding process takes place in the stomach, everything goes into the liver. We've been talking about it again. Came the karbanos. So the same idea, the metaphor can work for the karbanos. How was that? So these ishim, which he said, are the malachim, which are on the inside, fiery angels. The Ishim Shehem Noitlim Chelek Ikri, they take the real root min carbon. Yotzes Madregos Malachim Mecherim Shehem Lamata B'hem. So from those which are on the Panemius, and really right where the food is or the sustenance is, it develops from there other malachim, which are below them or outside of them. Shehem Makdimim B'Naitin Dechidach Heidagatov. So these malachim, they're like a second generation. They come and they take a good portion of this. They take the portion of it which is good. Now, I have to explain this. Meforish, mi heim eloh malachim. Who are these malachim that are taking this good portion? V'omer ilon Elohim keneged hashinayim apnimiyim anikros tochanos. So really, he says they refer to the teeth. What do the teeth do? The teeth also grind. So they're in that level. Shehem ochlim as a karbanos, because they eat the karbanos. These are the secondary malachim. That's where I see it. And they grind them up. They refine them out at the beginning. So therefore, from the time that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, that these malachim no longer have anything to do. Their function has been nullified. He's going to explain because their partsufim become limited down. And he goes on and he says like this. So these malachim, they grind up, they refine out the food at the beginning of the carbon at the beginning. Since it's gone through that process, those malachim which are panemi to them, that are control over them, notlim a carbon oboloyim also. They take the carbon from that position and they swallow it. They're called by the name Veshet. Why? So the Ishim, which is the secret of these malachim, which are called the firey malachim. Now, that's where we're going to stop today. All of this is like kind of different stuff. This is Baruch Flashman, Tikkun Elevator Kolo, as we go through this.